Going live, going live. We are live with our audience. Hopefully they can hear us okay.
Whoop whoop.
And welcome everybody. This is Edward.
Namaste.
This is Edward Sonnenblick. He is the. He's very very nice. He's not a villain,
Aw.
but you
Seems
know,
to play.
often you seem to play a villain. And so, let me hide this super chat
Yeah,
window
I just work out all my nastiness on screen.
here.
So
um,
this is what's left.
Well, before we get going, like, how did you even get into the Indian film industry?
Oh, that's a good story. You can actually see a stand-up comedy routine I did like 10 years ago. It's still up on YouTube. But it pretty much tells the story actually. But I'll just tell you quickly here.
Okay.
I saw this movie Lagan. You've seen Lagan?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. I was about to slap you across the ocean if you hadn't. But it just blew me away. I think it was the first, yeah, it was the first Bollywood movie I'd ever seen, and it just ended up in my lap, and I watched it, and I just fell in love with it, and I started watching more Bollywood movies, and I was just obsessed. I must have watched about like 200 movies, and I really got into the old ones too, like from the 60s and 70s. There's an incredible vibe there. I don't know if you guys have watched much of those from that
No, we
era,
haven't.
especially this like the late 60s and 70s. It's just so fun, so cool. I'll give you a list, a
Yeah.
viewing list maybe, and you won't be disappointed. So I got obsessed with this. I also just started falling in love with India without even coming here. Just was reading books, was into it. I was into a lot of meditation as well. So I came to India and traveled. That was a long time ago, for like 8 months, and did just, I guess, what a lot of travelers do: just go here, go there, meditate here, do some yoga there, do a pilgrimage over here, and I just loved it. And I had already taught myself some Hindi like before I left. I got myself my little teach yourself Hindi
Wow.
book. I know, I still have it. I was just like rummaging through my whole house trying to find this right now. I know I haven't looked at it in years, but it still has a very sentimental place in my heart. And then I came to India. I traveled, and then I came back. And I was from Northern California, and I was a chef at that time,
Wow.
for like 15 years. And but then this Bollywood, this India Kita, just took over. Kita means worm in Indian. If there's something that just like is inside you, and you just got this thing that you got to do, it's called a Kita.
Kita.
Yeah, that Kita.
Kita.
Okay.
Means, yeah, and it means worm, and it's used as worm, but it also means like that thing that you just love so much to do. Like you got like I got an acting kita, I got a Bollywood kita, so I had to come to Bombay to seek my fortune, and that was 13 years ago. I just realized that America just doesn't really have it for me anymore, and I was just tired of cooking. I was getting older and tireder, and I always wanted to be an actor. I always I was in plays. I did stuff up through college, and then just didn't have the guts to go down to LA and struggle. So I figured, maybe there's a little niche for me in Bombay. I know they need foreigners. They do these period shows and movies where they need British characters. And if I speak Hindi, maybe I got an advantage. It was just like a little calculated risk, but it was basically just dropping everything and doing something really crazy and following my heart. And it worked. It's just like I just showed up in Bombay, didn't know anybody, got some pictures taken. I started finding these agents, and started working some really crappy jobs, some really fun jobs, this, that, and just eventually got this job as the main villain in this really popular TV series, Jhansi Ki Rani, the Queen of Jhansi.
Okay.
Lakshmi Bai. You may have heard of her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was a movie I was in recently with where she was, Lakshmi Bai was played by Kangana Ranaut, right?
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of TV shows. There's been a lot of movies on her. She's like the Indian Joan of Arc, right? So I was a bad British guy for a while in that. Then that track ended after like 50, 60 episodes. Then they brought me back as his evil twin brother. because it just needed
Such a soap opera.
Yeah. It's a full-on soap opera. They call it a soap opera. They call them daily soaps. There's no such thing as like a weekly 1 hour TV series on Indian television. It's the series are these soap operas that go every night, Monday through Friday, and they're really popular. Some of them. And this one was really big, so it was like half an hour Monday through Friday, and I was just like, getting my ass kicked by this little girl for the first little bit, because that at that time the queen was just a girl, and then they do a time leap, and then they brought me back to get my ass kicked some more by her, because it's just like the typical Bond villain, just always just screwing around too much and doing too much like drama, and when he could have killed her, instead he tries to do something all like diabolical and dramatic, and so she escapes. All that stuff happened, and finally I got run over by her on her elephant. It was a great send-off. It was a great way to die, and I still have so much love that still comes my way from that show. People tell me, oh gosh, we all hated you so much, and you were a great part of that series, and it was a fun series. You can watch all the episodes now. You can watch little clips. You can watch a nice reel from it. You get a sense of, that it had something special to it.
Yeah.
It was great. And amazing actresses that played Lakshmi. Anyway, I'm rambling, and
we got a couple people in the chats asking who do recognize you. It's like your name. We got to get your name to be household, because like I've told a couple people, oh, I'm going to be live streaming with Edward Sonnenblick, and they're like, who? And then like they see your face and they go, oh, that guy. It's like that's who you are for Indian cinema right now.
I know.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of I've hit a little bit. There's a little bit of a glass ceiling. I mean, I get as much white privilege as anybody in this world, and especially in India. But I have to say, I'm just prefacing, because I have to say that like I think if an Indian actor had done as much as I have done so far, I think maybe they would have known the name. But there's just something, this idea, I think, that I have found in the industry, that like, okay, you're the white guy, you're one of those guys that we pick up as in the tourist zone of Mumbai, and just put you in front of the camera. I mean, that's changing now in the last few years. And
your role in Kesari
I have been on a roll. Yeah, I've been doing amazing stuff, and I've got amazing opportunities. But there's still that kind of that hangover in the industry, that the foreigners just don't really, they're not really here to stay or anything. So
yeah.
So that's why I don't really get as much attention as I might otherwise. But I'm just working hard to change all that. And I'm just really lazy and really crappy at social media and PR and all of that.
So I missed it somewhere. Oh, here we go. Bala, guy with a gang, asked if you proposed to an Indian girl in Hindi.
Gosh, did I even propose properly? Mujhse shaadi karogi.
Oh, is that what you say?
I never really. That's how you say it. It's even like the name of a movie.
For real?
Shadi Karogi. I remember the song Mujhse Shadi Karogi. It was like from the 90s, I think. Anyway, no, I never said that, because I'm really just terrible, unromantic kind of husband and courter and all of that. I don't know how I managed to marry an Indian. I'm just so lucky, because I just came to Mumbai with like nothing, and just think I want to be an actor, and so I never thought anyone would want to marry me, but somehow I just lucked out incredibly, and I'm married to this amazing woman. We've got an 8-year-old son.
Wow.
And life is awesome. But no, I probably didn't even propose to her properly. It was just kind of like, yeah, we're getting married. We went to the courthouse and stood in line and got married. It was awesome. And then we had a proper wedding later. Standing in line to get married was something I'll never forget either.
Just so you know, Edward, sometimes I'm looking over here to look at the chats. I'm not like ever ignoring you. I forgot to say that at the beginning, before we went live.
Cool.
Yeah. So like.
Okay, I was about to just hang up frustration. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I just jumped back and forth. And so also from Bala, guy with the gang, Uncle Jabs, asked Edward how weird he felt while learning Hindi for the first time.
I was so thrilled when I got a hold of this book because I was just watching these movies and trying to figure out with the subtitles, right? I didn't have any Indian friends or anything. There were hardly any Indians where I lived. And anyway, I'm just kind of shy and antisocial, so I didn't have many friends, period. But anyway, that's another story. I got a hold of this book, and I just started it was just always with me, and I recommend it actually if if you're interested. I'm sure it's still in print, and it came with a CD. They had CDs back in those days, and it was just the most fun I'd ever had learning a language, and I learned a little German, a little Spanish, but this was just so much fun because it was like just beautiful. It sounds so awesome. The lyrics, the songs, everything. It's really great, and it's so much fun to hear it spoken, and it's so much fun to get in to the fray and speak it. So I don't know, Hindi for me, I still have a lot to learn. I'm not very good at understanding people that are talking, especially when they talk to each other. I think I have a little bit of a attention deficit actually, and so I kind of plateaued a long time ago with my Hindi. I'm just gonna bear it. I'll be honest with you guys.
All right.
I'm not that fluent.
No, that's all good.
Okay?
Well,
and I just want to make sure that just caveat here that and I'm sure you guys agree that this is not about like teaching anybody Hindi. This is just kind of fun, right? To see what one American tells another American is proper Hindi, and please correct me, everybody, if I falter.
No, it's all good. I mean, that's actually what was intriguing me about this possibility is just seeing how you get around and conversate with people.
Yeah, like what's important, what you found crucial as a foreigner. Like what are the things that you have learned to say because like they're useful in your everyday life so that we can learn them too.
Well, as an actor, the most useful thing to say is spot.
Spot.
Spot. Why?
That's how you get the spot boy to come and get you whatever you need. And you just yell it on set, and some dude comes. They call him a spot boy, even if he's a full-grown man. And he comes and asks you what you need. You need water. You need like a chai or whatever. There's chai 24/7 in sets and everywhere. Yeah. So spot is very important in my field. You just say spot.
Spot.
Yeah.
Spot dada. Dada is the other word that's really important when you're shooting. I'm just talking about film set.
Yeah.
You said
since I'm talking to you guys.
You said dada.
Right?
Is that what you say?
Dada. Yeah.
Dada.
Yeah. Dada means like brother, like older brother.
Gotcha.
Okay.
In Marathi.
Okay.
And because we're in Mumbai, there's a lot of Marathi that gets mixed in with the Hindi. Okay. And you don't probably want to call a Maharashtrian Bhaiya, which is the Hindi version.
Yeah.
And so you just err on the side. I think that's why it just became in Mumbai. You just call these guys Dada. So spot Dada, makeup Dada, all right, lighting Dada, whatever you need, it's a Dada that's going to come and help you. And it's kind of funny because in Mumbai everybody knows that Dada, and Maharashtra of course everyone calls a man or a stranger or even just anyone that you want to address respectfully, Dada.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Bhaiya otherwise. And so you just default to Dada when you're in Mumbai.
We'll be going back and forth between like you teaching us Hindi and like taking questions from people.
And just rein me in because as you can see, I have no ability to stick to
So Sean Datta asks, how do you handle spicy food? How was your culture shock?
Oh gosh. Okay, first of all, everybody understand I've lived in India now for 13 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an Indian family. So I eat Indian food every day. I grew up in California. Okay, so there's food from all over the world, especially Mexican. Mm-hmm. Okay, so spicy food's not a big deal for foreigners, and I tell this to everybody because that is a big question that you get as a foreigner. How do you handle the food? How do you like the food? Is it spicy? And there's a lot of people from certain people from UK or whatever, they can't handle like chilies at all. Mm-hmm. But Americans, half of us probably do have it as canned. So I love spicy food, but no, it's not my. I don't need it like my wife does. I don't need it, but I can handle it. It's fun watching my son kind of learn to eat spicy food and how it's done in an Indian family. I always wondered, like, how do they get little kids to get used to spicy food? And it just happens. It happens with food that he really likes. First he'll deal with the spiciness for something that he really likes, like a vada pav, or he'll like, he won't be able to handle the spice for something that, is like some vegetable dish that he doesn't like anyway.
Gotcha.
So I love Indian food, especially Gujarati food. My wife's Gujarati, which is a whole beautiful world of vegetarian bliss. I'm a vegetarian. I've been vegetarian most of my life. It's another reason I love India, because I never have a problem feeding myself. And Kerala food, I think, too, is my second.
Okay.
Aditya Sharma chimed in asking what your experience was like working on Kapil Sharma.
Oh yeah, I was on the Kapil Sharma show. It was a big challenge, I gotta say, and it was really fun too. Kapil Bhaiya and I, had a great equation when we were shooting his movie, which was Firangi. Firangi means foreigner, and like I was the Firangi in Firangi. So I was his boss. He was like my servant, right? And I was kind of nice to him, but I was actually a big jerk. So the movie, not a lot of people came out to see it, unfortunately, but it was pretty fun. But we had a great time making it, and Kapil and I just we just really had a lot of respect for each other and all that. So he asked me to come and join him on the show. Are you guys aware of the Kapil Sharma show?
No, I just became aware of it because of your IMDb, and then people in the chat keep sounding it off.
Yeah. So he is and his cast. He's got like 4 or 5 people that are with him, and they do sketches mostly. Okay, and they have celebrities come and talk. It's kind of like if you had like a mix of the Tonight Show and the Late Show and Saturday Night Live all mixed up, it would be something like this.
Gotcha.
And it's good fun, and it's very slapsticky, and a lot of gags, a lot of silliness, and it is so big. And I was only on like 5-6 episodes. Okay. Yeah. And yet, still people do notice me for that. And I think I was only on 5-6 episodes because it was kind of tough to do like that much Hindi. And these guys would come and we would practice a scene. And then when we get on stage in front of the live audience, these guys are brilliant comedians, brilliant actors, and they would, of course, just start riffing, right? And improvising in Hindi, and in a very like North Indian Punjabi kind of style of Hindi that would just be spoken so fast and so over my head. I was a deer in the headlights sometimes. And when I watch those episodes, I'm like, I really could have done better than that. But that said, I mean, being on the Kapil Sharma show on that stage, I mean, I wouldn't, I certainly will always treasure, those moments. And if they ever want me back, you can always bring back Robert Paswan. Hashtag bring back Robert Paswan.
People in the chat was actually saying that your Hindi pronunciation is actually really, really strong. So, because you were questioning your ability to speak Hindi,
I will say my pronunciation is the strongest aspect of my language, of my linguistic abilities, because I kind of like to make sure I get accents right. When I do accents, I like to make sure that my pronunciation is good as possible. So yeah, I know the difference between like Thali and Tali and
speaking of accents,
and Moti and all that.
Speaking of accents, Daria Sabal says his accent seems more Indian than American, and I wanted to piggyback on that because when I talk to you, your accent doesn't sound American to me. It sounds like
Don't say that.
Yeah, it just sounds like I can't even place it, but that's probably like the same issue she has because she, was born in Thailand, grew up in England, and then moved to the States. And so you have like
I mean, I grew up in Thailand, but yeah.
You became a grown-up in England.
I need to know what are the words that sound strange because I'm curious.
You correct.
Yeah, I know Achara. Also, I noticed like you don't sound like you're really from anywhere in particular. That's why, you can tell that you've traveled the world. You are
exactly
a global citizen.
Yeah, but no, I think with your, it's not even accent wise. It's almost uh your cadence or something, or it's just something. But it yeah,
Yeah.
it's very clear that um
I think maybe yeah, the rhythmic quality probably has kind of changed, and probably more than the pronunciation, but just like yeah, certain inflections and certain kind of emotional rhythms and all that will probably be changed. But this is the first time anyone's ever told me that. That's why I
Uh,
got all worried because actually I do a lot of voiceovers. When anybody needs an American voiceover for an Indian ad or for an ad that's going to be somewhere else in the world, I get a call, and I also do British accent voiceovers as well. So but I always tell them I'm American, and so don't worry, I have an American accent because in India a lot of times people can't really tell if it's an American or a British accent. They're just not so used to telling the difference, so they have to take your word for it, and they just want to make sure I'm American. I say I'm from America. I can show you my passport. I'm going to give you an American accent.
and then
So
Anubadi
I
Dewan
just need you to say right now that my accent basically sounds American.
your accent sounds
Yeah.
super
Please.
American. I thought you were in California.
Thank you.
So Anubadi Dewan asks how many Indian languages can he speak?
Mala Marathi चा 156 येत नाही. And I just said in Marathi that I don't speak a single word of Marathi.
Okay.
મને ગુજરાતી થોડું થોડું આવે છે. I speak a little bit of Gujarati. It's more like I understand
Yeah.
Gujarati. Like I said, my wife is Gujarati, so I'm part of a Gujarati family. And Gujus are awesome people. And the language is so much fun, too. I really wish I understood more. But I do kind of follow it because it's still very close to Hindi. And it's pretty easy to follow. Like, I know what they're talking about, usually, like at least the subject, because it's usually food. Gujaratis are really into food. Yeah.
All right. So what else do you use to get around? Let's start
Yeah.
with, instead of film sets, let's start with like how you just get around the city today.
Yeah, what
Like
would
if
be
you're going to go out
useful?
today, like what would you say?
Yeah.
Like what's the first thing you end up doing?
I get in the elevator and I go to the garage of my building and I
Yeah.
get in my car
Yeah.
and I drive it.
And
Yeah,
so if someone
simple.
were in the elevator with you, was there anything you'd say? If it was like a neighbor?
Yeah. I say hello. How you doing? Most everybody in my building speaks English, and they'll speak English with me.
Right.
So I mean, you realize by now, I'm sure you guys know that I mean, English is spoken.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite fully by a huge part of the population, and especially in cities like Mumbai, and in fancy buildings like where I live and stuff too. It's just understood that English is the main language. But yeah, occasionally Hindi and stuff. So yeah, I have to say, hey, how's it going? I mean, it's just normal kind of stuff. And then I get in my car and I drive, and driving in India is good fun, and I actually love it. Yeah,
We got a bunch of
it's,
questions that just flew in here.
yeah.
Rishi Padi says, "What's one role character you'd have loved to play from an existing Bollywood and Hollywood film? Also, what's your favorite sweet dish?"
Oh, favorite. I'm just gonna answer the food question first, but it's hard to I love puran polis.
Okay.
All right, it's a roti. It's a bread with dal and jaggery filling, and it's not very sweet, but it's just so comforting and so satisfying. And you put tons of ghee on it, and like Maharashtrians have their own version and Gujaratis have their own version. They're both awesome. So puran poli for sure. Existing Bollywood movie means like recently released.
Oh no, not necessarily recently released, just anything that's out there. So it could be like something from your favorite 60s or 70s Bollywood film.
Oh gosh, yeah. No, I think Captain Russell from Lagan. I mean, he's like the gold standard of modern Bollywood villains.
He was actually in one of my favorite TV shows of all time, 24. He played a villain. He played a villain in 24. Yeah. It's a great show. There was an Indian version, or there is an Indian version with Anil Kapoor of 24.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, Harjit Singh says, "How are you guys? Why haven't I seen this guy in the Kapil Sharma show anymore?"
Just bring me back, you guys. Start a little hashtag bring back Robert Paswan.
Okay. And Aditya Sharma says, "Does he know the legendary actor Tom Alter and his son Jamie Alter?"
Yeah. I've never met Jamie, but I'm about to be in a film with Jamie Alter.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you guys know Tom Alter, right? Or
Well, we know of him,
actually,
yeah.
Speaking of gold standards for Bollywood villains, British Bollywood villains, Tom Alter was a guy who was born and raised in India.
Mm-hmm.
He was the son of I think American missionaries.
Gotcha.
Okay, so he lived his whole life in India. He speaks perfect Hindi, like better Hindi and Urdu than most Indians can speak. Actually, is what I've been told. And he was a great actor, and he was the go-to guy for playing the evil British officers for the longest time, from the 70s up through the 80s and stuff. And he's iconic, and everybody knows him and all that. So, to be, whenever anybody talks about, who I look up to as a role model, I guess it would have to be Tom Alter. He left this world, I think it was just like 2-3 years ago, not very long ago. And I never got to meet him, and I always regret that. I should have made some effort.
Yeah. Some people are concerned that I'm being rude to you by not looking at you. I just want to reiterate that I'm looking at the chat sometimes to gather questions, and Edward is very well aware of this. I'm not being rude to him. Arno
No, it's okay. And I have social anxiety, so less eye contact, the better. I love it. Don't worry about it.
Arno Banerjee says, "Kemcho Edward Bhai, Maja Ma."
Kemcho.
What's that mean?
Ekdam maja machu.
What does that mean?
So that's Gujarati. Kemcho is kaise ho in Gujarati.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Kemcho. So yeah, and majama is I'm good. Majama.
Game.
Kemcho. You said Gujarati?
Okay.
Kemcho.
Gujarati.
Kemcho.
And then
He's probably Gujarati. Yeah.
And then how did you say I'm good?
Majama.
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 Majama hu.
Majama.
Ekdam. I said ekdam, which means totally. Ekdam. Ekdam majama. Anyway, you guys don't want to worry too much about other languages when you sing, right? So.
Oh.
No, it's fine.
Don't let me take you there.
It's all interesting.
No, it's fun.
Okay.
I mean, it's all fun. So, but yeah, I mean, I personally would prefer to focus on one language at a time and not overlap them. People are gonna be like, "What are you speaking?"
It's like, what are you
not
saying now?
I know.
But
if I try and learn any other languages right now, if I try to speak that other language, all I speak is just Hindi words come out. That's
right. Okay, so if you're going down to like order a street food or something, you want pani puri. Like, do you have a particular way that you because everyone we ask is going to give us the very what do you call it?
The
formal polite way. So how do you?
Yeah. So the formal way that may fly like in North India, like Delhi and all that. But yeah, in Mumbai, people usually are much more informal. They'll mix up their Hindi words with other words. They'll mix up the formal and the informal in the same sentence.
Right.
And there's just a lot more leeway for what works, even with the native speakers and all of that. And when people from Delhi come down, when they often are horrified at, the way people speak Hindi, and they're just kind of, stuck up about it. And that's okay, because we like making fun of people from Delhi. Just all the time.
And so I take it that the LA New York comparison is very makes a lot of sense then.
Oh my
East
God.
Coast, West Coast.
Yeah. The whole thing where Delhiites are all just materialistic and status oriented and stuck up, and then people in Delhi feel like Mumbaikars are just uncouth and it's more like old money versus new money kind of
Gotcha.
I don't know.
So,
But I agree. Like Delhi's just it's not so friendly compared to Mumbai. I'm sorry, it's just not. I mean, it's great if you love like having to be really streetwise and just being really having to fight hard not to get ripped off and all that. But in Mumbai, it's just a lot more. It's a lot more friendly.
Gotcha.
That's my experience and other people's too. I mean, let's see if the angry comments start coming.
Oh no, I'm sure people will take it in stride.
Okay, so how do I go down and order some pani puri?
Yeah.
You don't have to say much. The thing is, you don't like in America. You say, hey, how's it going? Can I have 2 orders of pani puri, please? Here, this is like it's just too much. Nobody wants to hear all of that. Nobody wants to hear, how are you doing, or anything. They just want to know what you want, and and they'll give it to you. So you just say, egg pani puri, egg plate.
Oh, let me just write that down while it's freaking.
Egg plate
means like less spice. Tikka means spice.
Uh-huh.
All right. Kam means less. KAM.
KAM means less.
How do you say more? Because I don't want less.
Yeah. To ekdam masaladar bana do. Masaladar means like spicy. Masala means spices, right?
Yeah.
Or mix rather. So you masaladar, or you could just say, tikka banado. Banado means to make.
Okay.
And I don't know if I don't want to get into I don't want to get into too much of the grammar, but you could also say banao. And I'm giving you the middle formal level. There's 3 levels of address in Hindi. You're not gonna, as foreigners certainly, you're not gonna use the most familiar. Really, you don't need to really worry about it. The way you use it, as a non-native speaker, it's just too hard for me to really know if it's time to use it or not. So I don't. But tum, the general formal form of address, as long as you're speaking to just a dude who's making your food, or the rickshaw, or the taxi driver, or just friends or students or colleagues. Tum is in Mumbai. I have found it to be what most people use. If you're speaking to elders, or it's a more formal situation, or you're in a government office and you just want to make sure that you don't upset the guy who has your life in his hands. Then you'll be up.
Right.
To that person.
Right?
So when you're going to get your save puri, or your pani puri, or your dahi puri made, you just say what you need. And when you get into a rickshaw, you don't say I would like to go to XYZ. You just say, Dadar Janai.
Right.
You just say Dadar.
Okay.
And I'll take you to Dadar.
There's a couple people asking about your experience with RRR. Prasant Vanam super chatted RRR. And then Rock H2O also asked, how was your experience with SS Rajamouli?
Yeah, really, really cool. Rajamouli sir is an amazing director. My experience has been that nothing is really in my hands when he's directing. He's very, very particular. He knows exactly what he wants, and that if you're moving on to the next shot, that he got what he wanted, and if not, you're just gonna keep doing it. I've seen 2 seconds of material take 2 hours.
Whoa.
Sometimes, and it's just amazing how it works. And there's not a lot of tension on set usually. It's very chill. In South India in general, I have found there's a lot less swearing, a lot less people getting chewed out constantly like there is in Bombay in Hindi films. It's just how things get done. There's just a lot of yelling, a lot of swearing. A lot less of that in Telugu and in Tamil cinema, or maybe I just don't understand the Tamil and the Telugu cuss words as much. But certainly the volume and the energy is much more relaxed and chill, but very efficient, I must say. Things get done, people get paid. It's good down in the South. And Rajamouli and working on RRR is just great to be a part of. I can't wait to see what it all looks like. Like I said, I just do whatever he says. I just, I every little tilt of the head, every little expression, he tells me what to do. I am just putty in his hands, and I feel pretty confident because we all know what he's done.
Yeah.
And he knows what people want and knows how to give it to them. So I'm just glad to be there.
Harjit Singh is asking, he says, hashtag bring this guy back to the Kapil Karma show. Sir, do you think you would have worked better in Lagan? I'm curious to know.
Oh, no. He was great. How could I say I could do better? I was like, and that was the movie that just like changed my life, right? When I saw Lagan, that's what sparked my whole India, life. So, I could never say that I could do better as Captain Russell, but I would certainly love to try.
Well, if they do a
There's
remake,
there's always remakes
Yeah.
going on in Bollywood, of the old Bollywood movies. They get remade, like Dawn,
Yeah.
Agnipat and stuff. So, I never thought of this, but maybe I will be in Lagan if it's ever remade.
hey man, anything's possible. And then we have a question here from Vinay Vic. Says, hello, Achu at Jabby Live. I know 6 languages. Respect to Edward. Edward, given chance, would you do a Kannada film?
Of course, yeah. Why not?
Okay.
I do any role if it's if it's good and everything's and I have the dates.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. But yeah, that's Bangalore is one place I haven't worked. I haven't worked in Kannada.
And Aditya Sharma asks, how was your experience working with Rajkumar Rao and Bose? Jabby Nachar, you should check out Bose TV show. It's superb.
Yeah, I love working with Rajkumar Rao. He is like such a cool dude. He's such an amazing actor. I just felt so blessed, and I'm not gushing out of anything other than the actual feeling that's coming out of me when I think about working in Bose, Dead or Alive. That whole crew, the director and the supervisor of the whole thing, and Rajkumar Rao. I mean, I just learned so much. That was really where I felt like, oh my God, I'm acting with actors like never before, and I'm really proud of how it all turned out. I mean, I just feel like it was a great series, and we made something really special. And whenever Rajkumar Rao is on a project, it's a good sign.
Yeah. No, I've
Yeah.
had a few friends work with him, and they always speak very, very highly of him. Vinay Vic says, try to get Jamie Alter. He has a great story for India, Hindi cricket as a foreigner. And then Arnab Banerjee says, have you ever thought about directing, or are you going to keep up with acting?
Oh gosh, I do not have what it takes to direct like anything. I can't even direct my own life. It's just a movie, man. I mean, I just love acting because they tell you what to do. That's why I'm an actor. So.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe I could get the writing keyed up. I love having ideas and working on them a little bit. But mostly, what I've succeeded at is acting. And what was the first one? The first part of that question?
That was it, really,
Yeah.
because the other thing was just to address to us, and I just was reading out for the guy who chatted at us.
Okay.
So
No. But besides directing, he asked something else. But
he just asked, have you ever thought about directing, or are you going to keep up with acting? The other thing I read before was from a different person, just addressing us.
oh, okay.
So
Cool.
anyway, so let's say that you're out and about and you're trying to find the bathroom. Like, what's the first
Yeah.
off, as someone
Yeah.
who is an American
This-
that lives there, like, what's your strategy? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, you want to plan ahead, as because public toilets are not really that ideal. Just be honest. So you want to plan ahead. You want to like make sure you're going to be somewhere, or when you are somewhere where there's a decent toilet, you use it before you move on. Um, and the word is washroom. Washroom
Okay.
kidhar hai.
Wash.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me write
Oh,
that
washroom.
down.
Kidhar is where, right? So
Yeah,
washroom
you could
kidhar
all
hai.
kidhar it works, or kahan.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, washroom kahan hai, washroom kidhar hai. If you try and say bathroom, they might not get your pronunciation. If you say restroom, nobody knows what that is. So washroom is what they call it.
What's the difference
What we call
between
it here.
kidder and kaha?
No difference. I think kaha is probably like what you learn, what I learned in here. So I've always considered kaha to be a little more formal. And then when I actually started speaking with people, I heard kidar more. At least that's how it is in Mumbai, I've noticed. But it's kind of 50-50.
Gotcha.
And I can't tell you what the difference is. If somebody can say that there's any difference in meaning or context or whatever, then
Perhaps
please let
it's
us
like
know.
maybe one is Urdu and one is Hindi.
Um,
I don't know.
so,
I don't
No.
think so.
Yeah,
I think they're both Hindi.
so as an American, how long did it take you? This is a question for me. How long did it take
Oh,
you?
one more.
Oh, go ahead.
The best way to get pointed to the bathroom is to do this. Okay, just means you gotta pee.
Oh.
All right. Anywhere you go, you just hold up. And it's faster than any other way of asking. You just, and you're pointed to the thing. I don't know if women can do it.
Oh.
If they're
Yeah, they're
expected
probably
to.
then they're like, I have questions for
Yeah.
you, lady.
Yeah, totally. And I don't know why, people are so, I mean, I think a little more confidence, would be this one. But it's this one. It's this one.
Uh,
Susu.
okay.
Susu. Like they teach little kids, to put this up. The word is susu in Hindi.
So, what is what I was gonna ask you was, because as an American, like I'm not used to the squirt gun. So how long did it take you to get acclimated to that and abandon toilet paper?
Oh, the sprayer.
Yeah.
Oh, the squirt gun. Yeah. It took a while actually for me to really be comfortable. See, I don't know. The thing is it involves, contact, right? With the substance.
Right.
And that's still I try and avoid, and I like a sprayer that's nice and powerful, and it's I don't know, once you really understand, you can never go back, Javi. Right?
You just gotta understand, okay, Javi? Just need to take that time to understand.
Yeah, I agree, but yeah, I mean it's funny because when someone from a culture that uses toilet paper ends up in a Indian bathroom, it can be quite a serious situation.
Well, it's harrowing. You go in there and you're like, there's literally one square. What am I supposed to do? And it's just like the panic ensues of like, what?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, and the same thing happens for an Indian in a restroom where there's no access to any kind of water supply. I mean, that's just hideous to think about for people here, that you wouldn't be able to, perform any kind of ablutions with water afterwards. So it's just as much of a panic situation on the other side too.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So Nitika Bala asks, Edward, where did you learn acting?
Like I said earlier, I just always have loved acting from the time I was a kid, and I just did my share of plays and everything up through college. And then I just got caught up in cooking for a living, and I just sort of buried it, deep inside. And because I was too afraid to follow my dream, right? And then when the whole idea of doing it in Bombay, was dawned on me, then I finally realized I could actually do it for a living. But it's always been there. I've always loved just being goofy, being dramatic.
Uh, so we have a
Excuse me.
we have a clarification here. Satyakam Shashwat says Kidhar means which direction. Kahan
Okay.
is where.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. So okay, so if you're going somewhere, if there's movement involved, then it's kidhar. If you're just talking about like, where do you live, you can't say like up kidhar rehte ho. You'd have to say up kahan rehte ho.
Right. Up. Wait.
And
Up.
you notice how I'm from Mumbai basically. So I say up kidhar rehte ho. I don't say up kidhar rehte hain. And people
Gotcha.
from Delhi or thereabouts would say that's just wrong to mix up the informal with the formal.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
That's what I hear people do, so I've taken it on myself.
Aap kaha rehte ho? Where do you live?
Or I don't want you guys to start making the same bad Hindi mistakes I do. So maybe I should just say it's tum kahan rehte ho or aap kahan rehte hain.
Okay.
Aap kaha rehte
And
hain?
Rishi Padi says, what's one place you'd recommend Javi Nachar to visit in India outside of major cities? What's one place you look forward to going to yourself?
Okay.
I love Kerala. Like I said, I love the food there, and I love. It's just beautiful and so different from anywhere else in the country that I've been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of the great things about India. It's like all these different states where you have different cultures, different languages, different food. It's basically like Europe. If Europe was one country,
Right.
that's India.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Kerala is like its own country, and I just love the food, and the people are really sweet, and the natural beauty there. I mean, I love the tropics. I don't like being cold. I mean, I love mountains. I go there, but I don't like being cold. So you can go into the mountains.
Well,
like
you're from
6,000 feet
California,
or
so naturally you don't want to be cold. You're a California guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So I just love it there. You can go. It's got mountains. It's got beaches. It's got these incredible jungles and backwaters, and it's lush and fantastic. And
Vedant Chaudhary says, three things you think are better about living in India compared to the West and vice versa.
Home delivery.
Well, we got a lot of that now ever since
Yeah.
lockdown. But
Really?
yeah,
Okay, but it was always here.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. And you just call the store that's right outside your building, and
Okay.
they'll come up in a few minutes.
That's a little different.
With,
That's yeah.
with
that's
a loaf
different.
of bread.
Yeah.
Okay? I get and there's milk at my doorstep. There's a milk and a fresh coconut on my doorstep every morning.
Oh wow.
All right. Yeah, I get A2 organic milk and a fresh coconut that's partially open. So all you got to do is just pry it open. It's there every morning, and you can get your flowers delivered that way, your tulsi leaves, the newspaper, of course. And it's the life, and I really, really value it and feel so grateful that, so many things are so convenient here, and so much can, doctors and bankers and stuff will come and visit you,
Wow.
so you don't have to go, to the offices out there so much. Other thing I would say is children are allowed in India. Like in America, you bring your kid to a restaurant and you're just paranoid that he's going to upset other people or anything. Here, like the waiters will like start taking your kid around and show them the kitchen and take them on a tour and all of this. And it's just how it is. I mean, people love children here, and nobody is gonna, give you dirty looks if your kid's, being a jerk even, So it's a great place to raise your kids for that and other reasons. Actually, I feel I'm so glad that we have a kid here in India, and it just feels like it's just great that it's a place there where children are really included in everything and accepted everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not like they have to be separate. And kids stay up late and party, at the adult parties too. I don't know if that's so great or not, but it's there. And it's just like, it's a lot of that high context culture kind of thing, if you know what I'm talking about there, where children are just more included. And I really like that.
Yeah.
A third thing,
Okay.
I don't know. There's so much I can't decide.
It's all good.
The food is so reasonably priced and high quality if you know what it is. So
I was shocked. We were watching a video the other day, actually. I don't know if it's out yet,
It'll
but
probably come out
and
tonight.
so it was talking. This guy was going around India getting food and whatnot, and he ordered this big plate of food, and it was 20 rupees. And I was like, "That's insane."
No, it wasn't.
Or
It
20.
was.
that
It was
is
20.
that is
No,
insane.
it wasn't.
What was
It was.
What was the food? Where was it?
It wasn't 20 rupees. It was 20 rupees for like a single. I think it was like a. I don't know if it was a vada pav or it was something single, but I mean that's still super cheap. And then the thali he got was like $14, but it was humongous.
Yeah. You get the best food for that kind of price. If you know where to go. Even in a city that's way more expensive than most other places like Mumbai. Still, it's pretty cheap to eat out. And since I've come, like when I first arrived, the Western food, they call it Conti food here. The Western food, not anything much to write home about. But now, in the last few years, the quality has gotten really good. So I never feel actually like I even have to miss burritos. I never thought I'd get a decent burrito in Mumbai, and but I had one. Actually, no, it was in Bangalore. Yeah, I think better food in Bangalore than Mumbai. Sorry.
Oh.
But, yeah, but maybe I just don't know where to go here in Mumbai. I just get such great food at home that don't eat out that much.
Oh, that's lucky.
Arna Banerjee
I
is
know.
asking, I'm surprised, or he's just saying, I'm surprised you don't like dokla or tepla, but poli is very good, I admit.
Who said I don't like dokla and tepla? Tepla is life. All right. I could eat tepla all day, every day. Teplas are these Gujarati rotis, okay, that have all kinds of masala in them, including a lot of fenugreek leaves. And they're a little sweet because they're Gujarati. Everything that Gujaratis eat has a little extra jaggery or sugar in it. It's just sweet. That's what people know. So, but that's nice if it's not overdone. So yeah, tepla is fantastic, and it travels anywhere.
Okay.
Anywhere Gujaratis go, they got a big stack of teplas with them, and I think this movie that Rajkumar Rao was in, he played a Gujarati guy who's in China. And,
Oh, yeah,
Made in China. Yeah, my friend
Made
was
in-
in that.
that-
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember. Okay. So your friend was in that.
Yeah.
So you remember the scene where he's sharing his tepla with everybody?
Yeah.
I love it. So that was quintessential Guju experience there, where the Gujarati guy is traveling with his tepla and sharing it with everybody.
Oh, okay.
And dokla too. Dokla is fantastic. I go nuts for good dokla. I'm not crazy about khaman, which gets a little dry for me, which is a kind of a dry version of it.
Okay.
But dokla generally, it's just like a spongy. It's like eating a really really tasty sponge.
That sounds yummy. We have a couple people asking about your Jhansi Ki Rani. Ashwarya Malse said, "I'm your fan since Jhansi Ki Rani. Please tell us about it."
I think you. Yeah.
Namaste. Thank you. Tell us about Jhansi Ki Rani.
Yeah, your work in it, I suppose.
Oh
That's the
gosh,
idea.
yeah. Well, check out my Instagram photos. I got some fun behind the scenes pictures and stuff. You can see how much fun it was. It was hard work working on a TV serial in India. It's just nonstop, long days, day after day. But you get to be on TV, so there's that, and it's enough to make up for the hard work. And I think Jhansi Ki Rani was really where I cut my teeth in acting. And acting in a TV serial in India, it's not an art at all. It's a craft. This is what I say. Like maybe in movies you got time to make it an art, but the craft of canning a scene in an Indian TV serial, it's awesome to behold. It is sublime just how it happens. So much gets canned in one day. It goes so fast and so much chaos, and you just don't understand like how it's happening. But everybody there, and there's a lot of people there, is part of this intricate dance that somehow results in a soap opera. And it was just so awesome being a part of that and learning how to act in with all these close-ups. The Indian TV serials are famous for the and then they go to the other guy who's like, and they go to this other guy who's like, and that happens. So you got to know how to do these, and you got to know okay, now it's time for the mid shot, now it's time for the close. Oh, and what was I doing in the wide shot, the establishing shot? I got to have continuity with that, and you got to keep track because they're supposed to kind of keep track. There's ADs to keep track of the continuity and all that, but everybody's busy. Nobody's gonna you may or may not be told that you've got some palak paneer on your face still or whatever. You gotta be ready for your shot, and nobody's gonna look out for your acting but you, because no one has time for second takes.
Right.
Sometimes,
Damn.
So it was like the school of hard knocks. I was just thrown into it, and I loved it. And just getting these Hindi dialogues, these Hindi sides written in Devanagari script, which most movies and TV shows don't do. They write the Hindi and Roman for everybody, because a lot of Indians, especially the people from more affluent backgrounds, they don't actually they're more comfortable reading Roman Hindi than the actual Devanagari alphabet. But this was Jhansi Kirani because the Hindi and the Urdu and everything had to be perfect. So I guess that's why they gave us our lines in Devanagari script. And so I learned how to just they give you the lines that day. Sometimes if you're lucky, you get them the night before. I'd have these huge sides to give on the day that they just gave them to me.
Oh my God.
So it was just sink or swim. And but somehow I just felt like this is where I belong, this is what I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna make it work. And it was a great run. Like I said, it's how I cut my teeth. It's what got me started, and I still feel so much love from all the fans,
right?
And all over the world, that this show, because Hindi entertainment and Indian entertainment, it travels the world and has fans everywhere. And this show, I get fans contacting me from all over Africa, all over the Middle East. Wow. Especially Kurds in Iraq. For some reason, this show was so huge in Kurdish Iraq. I cannot tell you. So, and I just blows my mind, the reach that it had. So yeah, it was a great experience.
We have a couple of chats here. So, Sar Kasvij says, I thought the little finger was a universal thing. And then I don't know how to say this name. Devnish says, yes, we get a whole meal in 5 rupees, though it's not as hygienic as it should be. Sandeep Sabkal says, Edward, how was your experience working in Indiepedia? Great show, Sir Jabby. You should watch it. You'll get to know more about Indian culture.
Yeah, thanks. I'm very proud of what we did in Indiepedia. That was a show where that was on TV. We did 1 season, and it was all about Indian culture. Indians don't know about Indian culture, so we would look at one episode would be about the way trucks are painted. Why is it like that? What's the history?
Right.
What do all these things mean? Because you've seen the trucks in India and are just done up so crazy, and all these cryptic messages. Horno, okay, please. What is that about? Why does it say that? On the back of all these trucks in India. Horno, okay, please. So it was a great show, and I hosted it, and I hosted it in Hindi.
Oh wow!
So it was quite a unique, because it was basically for Indians, but they wanted me because it's an interesting perspective, because we're talking about India. And some things that's just so part of India that even Indians don't even think about, like these doorways. There's all these doorways that we just go through, all these old, doorways. What does it mean? What are the meanings? Why is it like this? That was an episode we did. Or, sports that are from India. We did an episode on that. We did an episode on, I think, superstitions and stuff, and all the things people do with lemons and chilies hung from doorways and from their cars and everything. people do this like without thinking, but a lot of people, probably most people in India, don't really know why, what the history, what the story is. So that's what Indiapedia was about. Yeah, and I do encourage. I think it was a great show.
Oh.
Um, I'm just gonna get this out of the way real quick. I personally don't think you should answer this question, but it came up. Salam Syed says one thing Edward hates about India. I wasn't gonna ask the question. I'm like, well, screw it. I'll just throw it at you if you feel like answering it. But I don't think that's a good question to answer personally. So
No, it's fine. I
Okay.
mean, I am so confident in my love of India, that I can say this,
Okay.
that there are things that, I'm not happy about, and I think certainly garbage, and how the attitude around waste and how it's treated. There's just a lot of neglect in where it's put, and just giving places to put it, and all of that. So that's one thing that everybody who comes to India is confronted with. I don't think and Indians know too that it's not an ideal situation. And Modi ji has been working on ways to change people's attitudes and get this to improve.
Is it any
And
different than New York? Like New York, they just put their garbage outside basically in bags and stack it up, right?
Bags are good compared to what you see sometimes. So like there may be dumpsters where they pick up where the garbage trucks come and pick up the trash, or there may not. It may just be a pile, okay,
Oh.
that just gets replenished every day, or it may be a dumpster that's overflowing and a pile next to it, yeah, just a lot of people unfortunately still have a very casual attitude towards throwing trash wherever, plastic, all of that. So it's hard to see still sometimes.
A lot of people in the
But
chats are
there's-
agreeing with you
but I
about
will
this
say
garbage thing.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in India that are working hard to change that attitude and and make things better. But it's going to take some time. But I think it's on its way slowly.
Yeah. No, a lot of people are agreeing with you though. Like I'm looking at the chat in between the conversation. A lot of people are going, "Yeah, agree." So you got
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got
no,
a
it's
strong
like
point there.
it's impossible not to.
Yeah.
In a way. So, but like I said, I love India so much. I can talk about things that aren't
Right.
good, and I don't worry that anyone thinks.
Yeah. Niraj Vashistha says the playdate culture has yet not impacted India, so kids are free to play with their friends in every evening like old times in U.S.
Yeah. And we live in a building, like a lot of people in Mumbai, who can afford to. We live in a high rise, and there's a big compound, down at the bottom,
Right.
with grass, and there's space for cricket and football. Cricket and soccer. So it's great. Our son just goes down and meets up with friends and plays and comes back. And it's like I had kind of the experience I had as a kid. Just leaving in the evening and playing with the neighbors, who were more or less my age.
Right.
And it's great. Yeah, and little kids like on our floor, it's awesome. It's not like this everywhere that in these posh towers, but on our floor we've got 4 flats, 4 apartments, and there's our son and there's another kid next door who's a little younger, and they're great friends, our kids, and then there's 2 toddlers. And so everybody just mixes, and during COVID we got to be careful and all. We've sort of formed more or less a pod, but generally, I mean, during normal times, certainly, like everybody just hangs out, and there's this little 2-year-old kid that just like ends up in our house. Oh, hey, what's up? And it's just great. It feels like it feels very communal, and it just kind of happens organically here more easily than I think it does in the States, at least from my experience.
Yeah.
Arna Banerjee says my favorite is Kaju Katli And this is in response because, like earlier, he accused you of not liking
Oh, that
something.
was I was supposed to
Yeah.
say what my favorite sweet was. Oh, I did say it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kaju Katri is awesome.
Yeah, and then Katan Chachad says, "Is there any American food you miss?"
Burritos.
Yeah, I think Mexican. You know, just growing up in California, burritos are my go-to comfort food, and we make them here. But the corn tortillas, you know, for tacos, soft tacos, and all that, it's just something doesn't happen right over here still. So yeah, good, like, you know, veggie deluxe super burrito. You know, it's not so easy to find, and yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Here in LA.
Yeah. Vidya Sagar says, "Dude looks so much like Kevin Conroy." Have you gotten that?
Not Kevin Conroy.
You know who that is?
No.
He voiced Batman for. I mean, I think he still voices Batman in the animated, like in the games and stuff. Like for like Batman the
Okay.
animated series, like he's been the voice for decades now. And opposite of Mark Hamill, who played Joker, up until yeah.
Ah.
So yeah. Anyway, Nikhil Kulkarni, Edward was working in the same company as me in TCS. I have met him once
Oh
or
my
twice.
God.
His wife is
Hi,
Gujarati. Great
Nikhil.
guy. Yeah.
What's up, dude?
Wow.
So I've worn other hats too, and I worked in a call center. I was a consultant on for a call center that had an American process that was up all night doing calls with credit
Wow.
card customers in the States, and for a good like 2.5 years, I was consulting on with the trainers and with the agents and stuff. And it was good. It was a good experience, and you know, I was still able to do ads and do some acting gigs and stuff in between. But yeah, working nights, it was brutal. I'm not a night owl. No.
Um, Arnab Banerjee, you really could make a storyline, movie, not autobiography, out of your life, or are you saving it for later?
Yeah. I don't know. Just somebody needs to write it. I'm just an actor, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you been
Someone
approached for
wants
anything
someone
like
wants
that?
to like. No, I haven't. So yeah, anybody's interested,
Okay.
just ping me, I guess. Yeah.
Nigam says, how frequently you end up using cuss words in India, and where have you used more, using it angry or between friends?
I'm not a cusser. I'm just too much of a scaredy cat to like piss anybody off, I think. I cuss in English just at home with friends or whatever, you know. Also, but I have a young kid, so I've kind of tried to rein it in
Uh-huh.
a little, you know. It's just what happens when you have kids, I think, at least for some of us. But yeah, Hindi swearing is awesome, and in Mumbai, you know, I think it's an art form. And as a foreigner here, I never feel like, you know, I'm 100% sure it's right. Plays I don't just doesn't come out, you know. I would try. I'd be like, hey, benchmark, you're setting a new benchmark for dumbness. That's what I'm saying to you.
Benchmark.
You know what I was about to say.
Yeah, I do. So
Yeah.
my question about that is because a lot of my Indian friends that I talk to on the regular tell me that, you know, cussing in English for whatever reason doesn't sound for them as harsh as cussing in Hindi. And it's like for me,
Ah.
cussing in Hindi obviously like feels funny to me, and so I'm more inclined to do that than I am to cuss in English. So have you adopted like the Indian perspective where cussing in Hindi is like it feels worse than cussing in English?
I don't know. I think I'm guessing they say that because it's their first language, and
Right.
When you hear cuss words, I mean, these people probably grew up speaking English too, so I guess you know, they would be just as familiar with English and English cuss words. But I think this is something I've never really thought about. I guess for me, like English sounds harsher to me
Okay.
when you swear.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe that's just because it's just closer to the bone because I grew up speaking English,
Right.
and Hindi will always be a second, third language or whatever, and as such, hasn't yet gotten to that point where it's I really dream in Hindi very much or anything.
Right.
So it doesn't hit as close to the bone.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I can swear, I guess, in Hindi, and it just doesn't. But every time it comes out, like it just like like if I do it like my wife in front of my wife or whatever, she's just like, what? Is that you? Yeah, I said it. Kind of.
Yeah. Jatinder Sandhu says, "Hi, Jabby. Please, Hindi pe focus karo. Edward ko bolo itna explain mat karo sab kuch. We are here to watch you learn Hindi."
Yeah, see,
So,
it's telling you off.
Obviously, I know what he's saying without you having to translate it. Like, but
Yeah, हमको डांट कर रहे हैं. डांट रहे हो.
So,
I can't speak Hindi. It's too late.
obviously, this conversation has evolved quite a bit. So, a lot of people in the chat got really, really curious about, Edward Sonnenblick himself and his experiences. And so, naturally, I'm going to go with the flow of what the audience wants. So, we abandoned.
Me too.
We
Me
abandoned the
too.
Hindi thing in favor of just talking about your experience, which a lot of people found interesting.
That's good.
Yeah.
Maybe you have attention deficits too.
No, I just try to keep
staying on task.
I just try to keep the audience happy. So like I feel the flow.
Yeah.
Like the waves.
Yeah.
Like Pocahontas in the river.
But
So,
लेकिन ये बंदा खुश तो नहीं है.
What does that mean?
ये बंदा, this guy, खुश तो नहीं है.
I know
Kush.
Nehi means
What's
no.
Kush?
Kush. What is Kush? Pop quiz. Kush.
Kush.
Kush
Maybe?
hote.
No, that's
No.
Shayad.
Kush is different from Kuch, right?
Yeah, Kuch.
It's like ये वाला, ये बंदा. What's his name? नाम क्या था उसका?
What is
The
his
guy
name?
who made the comment?
Oh,
who was scolding us?
I can't. Oh, it's
Jatinder.
Jatinder Sandhu.
Okay, Jatinder, खुश नहीं है.
What does that mean?
Nahi hai.
नहीं
Means
नहीं
not,
है
no.
is not. Yeah.
Yes.
नहीं है. Kush means happy.
Oh, that's right. Like Kushi.
Yeah.
Kushi.
So I was saying, yeah, Kushi means happiness.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, gotcha.
So he's not happy.
Yeah.
Kush.
Yeah. I was saying,
Jabby.
and I used to after ये बंदा खुश, ये बंदा तो खुश नहीं है. So this guy, as opposed to the others who are happy, this guy, however, is not good. So to is a word you hear a lot. There's no translation for it. But whatever you put it after, it means like it makes that noun, separate from as opposed to all the others. It means like as opposed to others. And it just includes all of that in that one little syllable.
Oh,
And
cool.
so you'll hear it, to, T-O. Yeah. Dental T, not the retroflex.
Well,
So yeah, ये तो कुछ नहीं है, Jatinder. माफ कीजिए, Jatinder भैया.
oh, you said you apologized?
Yes. Very good. I said I'm sorry. But you know what? In India, you just say sorry.
Really?
Yeah. You just say sorry. You don't have to say maaf kijiye. You can. It's a little more formal, but most of the time, at least in Bombay, again, Mumbai is.
I was
very-
learning some fancy version of it, like Maaf Karyagi or something.
Maaf kariye.
Maaf kijiye. Maaf kijiye.
Yeah, that one
is
as well.
very So the formal way to say do, karna. The formal
Yes.
way is kijiye. Then there's karo, which is familiar, and then there's super familiar, which is just kar.
Gar.
Like
Okay,
if-
so,
yeah.
hold on. As an American, okay. First off, let me read this. Natika Bala says Edward should have met Donald Trump and corrected his Hindi when he visited India. I want to piggyback on that. I want to know. I want to know what your experience was like as an American actor in India watching Donald Trump speak these Indian
Oh my God.
names. Like, what did that feel like for you? Were you like just like covering your face, like you didn't let your wife look at you? Like, what was it like?
All I could do is just surrender to the horrific beauty of it. I mean, it was so funny. It was epic, and it's just gonna make Indians smile for generations to come.
Right.
Right. So, thank you, Donald Trump. He did
Yeah.
something that I mean, he did a lot of things that made us laugh, but You know, this was particularly precious. And he was trying to say Swami Vivekananda, right?
Yeah.
And what he said was Swami Vivek Mundun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so there was this awesome meme going around.
Yeah, we
You
saw
guys,
it. Yeah, we saw
Yeah,
it.
it's
you guys, you saw it,
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vivek Oberoi
Yeah.
with no hair, and it says Vivek Kamundun. You know
Yeah.
what a mundan is,
No,
or you learned, I guess.
no.
A mundan is when a little kid gets his head shaved or her head shaved.
Oh.
All right, and it's just something that's done when kids are like 1, 2, 3-ish, and it's believed that hair grows back more thickly
Luscious.
afterwards. So our son got a mundan. You know, that people just said, just do it, and it did. His hair was nice and thick afterwards. But yeah, after that, you know, little kids. So when you see little bald kids going around, you don't think, oh God, he's going through chemo. You just say like, you know, it's he just had his mundan.
Yeah.
So it's just so funny when you see that, like Vivek Kamundan.
Yeah.
And it's Vivek Oberoi Ball. You didn't even need to like reference the you know, the speech or anything, because everybody knew it. So that was yeah. I just laughed. What else could I do?
Right. The meme you're talking about, we actually didn't see. We saw a different meme. It was like a music video.
It was a song. It was
a music.
hilarious.
It was a music video mashup of him doing that over and over again. And
Okay, yeah.
where he's,
was that Dipra Jadhav?
I don't know. He's like hitting the DJ things. I'll send it to you. It's hilarious. But
I think it must have been Dipra Jadhav.
Yeah, it was a nice little remix. So we have a couple super chats here that I wanted to catch up with. NL98, this is a regular chat. He says, I have to say it. Jabby, please tell him whenever he comes to the screen, I love the film even more because he's in it. You're a fan.
Aw.
I don't know his actual name, but it's NL98 in the chat. So, yeah.
Thanks. That's the best part.
And
I do.
then we got Chirag Shetty says, only white actor in Indian cinema I like after Mr. Alter. Great job in Bose.
Wow. I'll take number 2 to Tom Alter any day.
And Niraj Vashistha says, rarely anyone uses Dhanyavad or Maafi anywhere in India. It's thank you and sorry, even for people who don't speak any English.
And sorry, yeah. It is. I was going to say that too, that thank you is, if you say Dhanyavad, then it's just so obvious that you're just a foreigner who's
Trying really hard.
who's trying too hard. Yeah, you just say thank you. Everybody says thank you. And they just, and the response is welcome. You say thank you, welcome, not you're welcome, just welcome.
Yeah.
I've noticed that's what the response is.
So someone in the chat says Dolan means 2 dicks in Hindi.
That's right.
And so I wanted to ask you, do you think Modi deliberately said his name wrong to troll him?
I hope so. I hope so. You gotta just, you know, tell yourself that he was trolling him.
I mean, I just wonder, like, because if Modi's saying into the microphone, Dolan, it's like everyone is like, I'm wondering what everyone's reaction is when Modi's saying Dolan. Like, what was your wife's reaction?
I didn't see her reaction on that one, but yeah, no, we would have had a good laugh together for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just yeah, I guess it's possible. It's possible, you know. That it was not an accident.
It's getting late in India, and so Edward has to go to bed, and I have to meet up with family. So I'm going to conclude this here. Don't go anywhere, Edward.
Okay.
I'm just going to say goodbye to the audience real quick. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Make sure to follow Edward on the social media, on his Instagram, on his Twitter, and look out for him in upcoming films. I listed a few of them in the description, what would fit, but there's a lot more than that. So check him out on IMDb as well. Y'all be good. Thanks so much, regular chatters, super chatters, and everyone who's just hanging out. Love y'all. And
Namaste.
Namaste. And peace out. Cool. We're off.